Hello and welcome to Take the Black Live, our House of the Dragon after show live reactions. I'm Daniel Roman for winteriscoming.net. Here with me today is Natalie Zamora, Fansided's head of entertainment, and Savannah Leigh from Dawn of the Dog. And Dan Selcke will be joining us in just a few minutes after the preview for next week ends. And we can all catch our breath for just a minute. How are you guys doing? What do you think of the episode?
Conflicted.
Yes, very conflicted, very was missing something this week. I appreciated it, but I get it, but Team Black.
Okay.
The easiest way to
Team
say
Black.
Team
Yeah.
Black. Obviously.
Yeah, you came representing today with the Damon shirt.
So anyway,
Yeah. So okay, my first question for you guys. Hey out there, Martha. Hey Lisa. Hey Jen. So glad to see you guys all hanging out here with us. So the question I kind of wanted to ask you both out of the gate, and you've kind of started answering this, is how did you feel about getting an all green episode? Like Rhaenys was in it, but like it's really a green episode. Did you like that? Did you wish it were different? How do you both feel?
Go ahead, Savannah.
I feel like it was missing something. It was just the greens, and I'm just like, they're the ones that are trying to manipulate and push and weave and do these things behind everybody's back, and that's so suspicious to me. And then the whole thing with Aegon and all of that, like I appreciated that part of it probably the most, them trying to find him and stuff. But as for everything else, like Otto's still the worst, Kristen's still the worst.
He is.
Alicent is weak. I don't like her. And
weak. All right.
Yeah, no, I mean, she's like what Rhaenys says. She's like, you never thought about being on the throne yourself? Like, exactly, you haven't, because you think doing the right thing and making sure that the boy heir gets the throne and everything else. Like, come on, girl, grow some and be a little, unhinged. You were unhinged one episode, and now you just gone back to the whole 7, and I got to be right and everything. Like, come on, give me something.
Yeah, it was hard for me to pay attention when there was so much screen time for Otto and Kristen. See, I have a soft spot for Alicent. I like her, but it just pains me to say it, but I have to say it. I was just kind of bored for most of the episode.
Yeah.
And it's
okay. Sorry.
Because there's only one more left, so I'm just all over the place. I'm like, I just wanted so much more to happen.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. So I feel like it's interesting because part of me wonders if that wishing more could happen. There's a little bit of like a residual from Game of Thrones, because episode 9 was always like the episode every season for Game of Thrones. And House of the Dragon, this is kind of like, so you guys haven't read Fire and Blood. We won't talk spoilers. There's going to be stuff next week that is probably bigger than what we saw this week, is without having seen the trailer. That's my impression. So this feels kind of like the calm between the storm a little bit, because Viserys just died in 8, and presumably stuff will go down in the finale. But yeah, it's fair. I feel like this is going to be one of the most divisive episodes of the season, because there's so many people who are just Team Black all the way. Like Cassandra on the YouTube is saying, to be honest, I didn't hate it, but I feel like it wasn't that intense. And I disagree. I'm gonna be the lone person here who's like, I loved getting an episode of the Greens. I feel like we needed it because you guys kind of proved this, because everybody loves the Blacks. So to having an episode where we could just really get to like know Aegon and Aemond and all the different people in the green side a little bit better. I don't know. I felt like I enjoyed that a lot, but I can definitely understand how people might be maybe a little less excited.
I,
Did
I
you
can
have
see,
any favorite characters? So what were you gonna say?
I said I can see where you're coming from in terms of thinking it was intense and needing this side of things, because it kind of was like they kept the whole King's death a secret until they got everybody into the room, and then after they already did that and got everybody to bend the knee, then they told Rhaenys.
Mm.
Yeah.
And so like it's just that is intense, but it's a different kind of intense that we're used to from the last few weeks. It's manipulative, it's calculating, it's making you think a little bit about what they're going to do next. Why is Larys in the top of the thing instead of being down there, since he is
Larys,
and he the Lord of Harrenhal now, because he killed his family. So like, why is he up there being all creepy? Like, it made me think a little bit. I'm gonna have to watch it more than once to really get a full appreciation of it. But honestly, I didn't like the way they did it. Like, well, he said he was the rightful. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. That's not. He did not say Aegon is the rightful heir, and that's who I want to take over for me. No, he didn't. He was like babbling a bunch of nonsense.
Yeah, she seemed awfully confident. I thought they leaned too hard on it. Like, he said it like 4 times, like throughout it. Just it's okay to kind of use it as like the straw that breaks the camel's back to get the ball rolling. Like, it's not the only thing. You can just admit you want to put him on the throne. Like, you can say, in the book, like,
nice.
There's a lot of arguments. They're like, well, the lords who swore the oaths are mostly, they're 20 years ago. A lot of them are dead. And also, we never had a queen before. So sexists, rally sexists, go for that. It'll be
can't let Daemon near the throne.
Can't let Daemon near the throne. Yeah, there's lots. And it seemed like they were just like, well, he changed his mind. So that's cool, right? There was throughout the entire episode for me. How much got. Oh, by the way, I'm Dan Selcke. Hey, everybody. I remember that.
Hey, welcome.
I'm not sure how much you guys have talked about
yet.
There was just a big lack of shading for me throughout the whole thing.
Ooh,
that's a great way.
So what do you mean by that? Like, there were less gray characters. It was more everyone is awful.
Less gray in general. Like, okay, so there's that. So that's a good example. Like, they just kind of, instead of kind of getting into like, here's a bunch of people who want to do a thing for their own reasons, and they're putting up all these reasons to convince themselves it's the right thing to do, all boiled down to, well, the king changed his mind. I'm like, that's it. The entire conflict of, okay, let's see if I can just put it to you guys and see if I can get your response on it.
Yeah.
Otto versus Alicent sending people out to collect Aegon. They're fighting each other for the right to either bring him to his mother first or his grandfather first, as if he can't talk to both of them when he wants. The whole thing where Otto wants to have Rhaenyra killed. He says to Lord Commander, like, do it quickly and cleanly. Like, you can't take Dragonstone quickly and cleanly. It's it's not going to work. It's a heavily garrisoned fort. It doesn't make any sense. I just read the book a little bit, and it is true that they say Aegon after that, like, he wants, like, go kill her, go get her and arrest her and kill her. But then that's something like an idiot young kid might do who's stupid. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense for Otto to be like, we're going to take, like, no, what? No, you're supposed to be a smart person. I feel like they put dumb arguments in Otto's mouth so he would be opposed to Alicent. They could have a little thing going on.
It was a waste
sense
of
that
time.
I kept getting from it. Sorry? It was a waste of time.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't care about this right now. Like, there's so much more at stake. Them trying to find Aegon, I was like, we were going to find him in the end. So, like, why does this even matter? The stakes were so low that it was just...
I would have much rather, like, gotten Aegon's perspective. Like, I know he doesn't want to be king, but I didn't like that when we first saw him. He was just like, I don't want to be king. I'm running. I'm crazy. I'm wild. Like, okay, like, how about like a scene where you like find out your father's dead and he's like, oh shit, that means I gotta be king. Oh god, oh, I don't want to. Like,
yes,
in the book, He asked this whole thing about like what kind of brother steals a sister's birthright. Like that would have been interesting. I agree.
Yeah.
It was a waste of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that maybe Otto knows of his dirty deeds, and that's why they were going against each other, because I still feel like she's pretty not like she knows what he does, obviously from the last episode, but like does she really know what he's doing? No. But as a man, he like, and I hate saying that, Otto kind of probably knows what he's doing. He probably has people watching him himself.
Sure,
I think Otto has spies himself. And then when the White Worm was like, I know the king's dead, y'all. And then he's like, wait a minute, she's for real. So that tells me that he knows that Aegon's doing shady stuff. You can't, that's why I think they were kind of like, he's like, I gotta find him first so I can make sure I can dictate what he tells her what went down, and you know, make sure this doesn't get out. Well, too bad.
I got it. I just think like, you know, I she said like, I have Aegon. It's like, I mean, he's like 2 rooms over. Like,
Well,
no, I agree with you. Like, I think what you're talking about should be the way they should have done it.
So I disagree with it. The way I read the stuff with Otto and Alicent, which I do agree, it confused me a little bit at first. When they started fighting, I was like, wait, why are we fighting here? But on rewatching it today and looking more at it, I think the whole conflict there is whichever one of them has Aegon leading into his coronation gets to help dictate what his first act as king will be. And Otto in this episode is really steamrolling Alicent. The whole episode, that's kind of his whole thing is, oh yes, I'm basically assuming power now. The small council, he reveals he already had plans laid. They ask Alicent, what would you like to do about Rhaenyra? She doesn't answer, and then Otto steps in to cut her off. And then he says, we're going to get Aegon and bring him to him. So, well, he doesn't say storm Dragonstone. He's sending them to assassinate Rhaenyra at Dragonstone. He's not saying
coterie of knights to
take her quickly
to all like sneak into it. Like you send an assassin to it. You don't send like Lord Commander of the Kingsguard. Take your knights and go.
I was proud of that dude for being like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna stand by my queen.
Yeah, I like that.
Me too.
Yeah. Leo's on point, I think. Otto wants to find Aegon first to convince him to kill Rhaenyra and Daemon. I think that is one of the big things at stake there is he wants Rhaenyra and Daemon dead. He would tell Aegon we need to do that. Alicent, she tells them that by getting Aegon, his first act will be sending a petition to Rhaenyra instead. I agree. The thing with Sir Harold was a little weird. I assume if they went there with their coterie of knights, it would have been a duplicitous thing. They're not sneaking in; they're showing up at the gate, getting let in, and then killing them.
Duplicitous thing, like, well, they would have known by. I mean, another thing is like, you know, they want to like keep everything in the down low, right? Like, don't let it get out. But I don't like. There's like a room full of lords he's telling, and like, I know Larys spotted the one. By the way. Someone mentioned the foot porn scene. I don't know what to do with that.
I don't know how we're going to talk about that.
And like not in a fun way. Like that's kind of gross.
No. It was gross.
Gross. Like ew. Kind of same thing with like it's interesting how like a show like where's the line between kind of edgy and tasteless, you know? It's hard to find. It was bizarre, a love story. I agree. Like I thought that like the kids fighting with their filed nails and teeth was a little weird.
That was weird.
Just because it was kind of out of nowhere too.
Yeah.
And also Larys being into OnlyFans feet stuff was just kind of random and bizarre. Like and not set up, not going before. I thought that those both things edged into beyond like beyond edgy into a bit tasteless. Also, because clearly the kid fighting thing was put there the first time, so Mysaria could look like a child advocate, which is not a good reason to make kids claw each other's eyes out.
But I feel like
Yeah.
Aegon's that weird though. Like
Hmm?
Aegon's weird.
It's weird. Oh yeah, I mean, I could. Oh, he's that weird, but yeah, I mean, I can believe he'd do it. I just if you're gonna have children kill each other, or if you want to establish Mysaria as like a child advocate, you can't just spring it on us like this and like this weird mess of kind of low stakes, kind of wandering around. I didn't like, by the way, I didn't like the episode. I can't know if you can tell that. I saw it on Thursday. I hated it. I was hoping I would like it more second turnaround. Not really. I thought it was
Fair
kind of
enough.
a mess.
Me too. So question really fast that we're on the children part or whatever, like would you have rather them like sprinkle that in throughout the season to kind of like give a little bit more context as to what was going on?
Anything with Mysaria, like, I don't know, like have Mysaria tell Daemon that I was abused as a kid, or like have when Daemon and Rhaenyra are walking around the city at night, go glance through some nasty child pit stuff. Do something. Like, just don't kind of blah, there it is.
Yeah.
I guess that's because that's like a secret. Is it like Aegon's secret? That's why they
well,
it's not
that secret. Like the one Twin Kingsguard knows about it. It's not, it's kind of publicish. It wasn't that bad, it was just kind of this low-lying example of just things that didn't seem terribly carefully. Oh, and Natalie, you talk about like the thing being low stakes, like, you know, and then Otto's guys, the Twin Kingsguards, you know, find Mysaria and find Aegon first, but it doesn't matter because then Rhaenyra's people just see them and follow them and meet them anyway. Like, that whole thing was so dumb. Saul has it. That's really a mess. Like it all. Can't believe it was the previous episode before the last. Yeah. I thought it sucked. But sorry, Daniel, I know that you like it and I want to hear other opinions.
Okay. No, that's okay. I think that it's fun because it almost feels fitting that an episode like this one about the Green Council is going to be the one that is a little more divisive. I see people talking still about the foot fetish thing, and I just want to say, one, that's weird as hell. I didn't like it, but having someone with a club foot have a foot fetish is such a George R.R. Martin type thing. Like that is obvious. Totally the type of people have so many weird fetishes in every single book he writes. Like that, it feels so on brand to me. Even though I hate it, the amount that they showed it to us doesn't feel on brand. But the fact that it exists,
been like a driving motivation for a character. I have a lot of fetishes.
Nah.
I don't think there are obvious George R. R. Martin, like foot guy likes feet. It's boring.
Well, the thing that he would do is have it be a rumor that someone else says. So that's how it comes off as not super obvious. Is people talk about these weird fetishes that various nobles have, but we never know if they actually do. And House of the Dragon is saying, well, here you go. We are gonna show you. Man, I felt bad for Alicent this episode. It was kind of like she was surrounded by men creeping on her, and she had just different ways of manipulating each of them because that's her lot in life, and that's shitty.
Is it though?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah,
what she was doing.
Agree.
Look,
always
that's
back to
motive all season long. Everybody wants to feel bad for her. I have a soft spot for her. That girl knows what she's doing. She's doing this for a reason, y'all. I'll tell you.
I wish there were more consistent. Like, I don't like how every episode seems like a different kind of motivation. Like for, you know, like she liked Rhaenyra back in the old days. That was great. She kept up with it. Then Rhaenyra lied to her and she turned. I think that was quite enough. And then she's very strongly, and you know, she makes the arguments like, Aegon, you will be killed if Rhaenyra takes the throne, episode 6, which I like. I thought it was, I mean, thought it could have been further, but I liked it. And now it's only about the Viserys's last words. I don't know. She's been ping-ponging a lot this season. I wish there was more shading. I wish they took more time. And I think they could have cut some stuff out of this and given more time to other stuff.
Yeah. I think she's just kind of a mess. Like she doesn't know what she wants
Yeah.
except like her honor. So she always wants to please either her dad or Viserys or Rhaenyra, but I guess I don't even
Aegon.
know about that anymore. Yeah. So I feel like she doesn't even understand her motivations. So
One of the scenes that I did like, I liked the scene of Allison and Aegon in the carriage on the way
yeah.
to the coronation, because it finally like just people
Yeah.
just talked,
Yeah.
and I liked like him asking like, "Do you love me?" and her going kind of like in a cute way, like, "You imbecile." Like that was kind of cute. Like she means yes, you idiot. Of course I do. I actually thought that was sort
Yeah.
of nice. I also liked and it got Aegon a little bit too. Like again, I couldn't believe that
Same.
they kind of gave Aegon's character development to Mysaria in this episode. That like, if I were writing it, I would have had a scene where he finds out the king is dead and goes like the stages of grief and gets to panic and like starts to wonder, do I really want this? And just to keep him kind of off screen until how important it's going to be. But I did like that he got that moment of the chariot. That was nice. And I liked when he was walking through the coronation thing and they were lowering the swords. That looked neat.
Yeah.
And I liked it.
Do
I
we
kind of
want
liked
to?
him even waving the sword like a We Are the Champions thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Aegon, this is the episode. So I loved Aegon when he was a teenager, even though he was a jerk because
Yeah.
he was funny. This episode is the one where I started enjoying him more as an adult, and not in like I dislike him, but there's something really fascinating about this guy who is clearly unsuited to be king, doesn't want to be king, and is being propped up as a figurehead. And seeing him kind of come around in that scene to like see, hey, maybe I could enjoy this king thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was nice.
I think
I liked that.
Yeah, I think Tom Glenn Carney did a really good job this episode. But I agree with you that I wish we'd gotten to see like him find out about Viserys instead of just being under a table. Both
in a
times I watched, I
church.
was like, he's just under this table. I guess Masaria's people stuffed him there. That was a
I mean,
little
I get the idea
weird to me.
that he went along with it, like, because he doesn't want to be king. So he just like, but again, why didn't we see
Yeah.
it? Like, we'll hide you. Someone at Cassandra asked, I wonder if there are more content from the books that could fill up the green episode. Cassandra, I mean, if it were me, it's not, it should be, but it's not.
Yeah.
I think like I would have just liked to see Aegon's reaction. I would have liked to see like the whole beginning council scene drawn out. I thought Lyman Beesbury, and again, this is a book dork thing, but like I thought that the council member who Kristen shoved onto the small council marble, which I knew those things were going to be trouble eventually, and he
Yeah.
died. I thought that would be more of a moment. Like that's kind
Yeah.
of came and went. Like that, I thought it would be like a big dramatic point, but it just kind of, it was over quickly. I would have made that longer. I think you could have done a lot more with just putting focus elsewhere. I just thought they put focus in. Oh, Savannah, I love your Damon shirt.
Yeah.
I just noticed just a second.
Respect.
And Thomas asks, anyone know who the Lord was arrested and hung? That was the guy who fake knelt to Aegon
Yeah.
in the room, who has been around before. He was in episode 6.
He's been
when
set
Eric
up.
Talked to him, yeah.
That's Lord
God,
Caswell is his name. And
like,
he was the first
how did they
person
kill him?
to congratulate. Well, because he was trying to get away. So you mentioned what was
But
the
in a
deal with all
dungeon.
these
Don't
lords and
kill him. That then you're that's an act of war if you kill a lord. That's really, really dumb. In the
if
book,
you kill a lord who
they're
bent the knee
very-
and then reneged on it, that's a
Yeah.
that's a punishable by death offense.
if you kill
is.
someone, that means that they're people who follow them are going to swear revenge on you, and that is going to, they want to do this without plunging the place into war, even though it's hard. In the book, they're very careful to make sure that they don't kill anybody, and Lyman Beesbury dies, and they hide that away. They just say he's in the dungeons, because if you kill someone, then you've drawn first blood, and then the war starts. The whole point, and this is true today of wars, when you always want to pretend like you're the victim. So you just take Rhaenyra's birthright, you crown Aegon, and then when she reacts like somebody would to her birthright being stolen, she kills somebody, she attacks, then you can say like, oh, she's being aggressive. Oh, she's trying to come on to us. We have no choice but to fight back now. But just, they just like hanged a guy as like set dressing, even though that guy is a lord. He has like lands and people who attend to him and stuff. He has allies. Like that's a terrible move. And I just didn't get it.
I feel like that's the high tower.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it shouldn't be. Like, Otto's supposed to be a smart guy, but
wait,
Aegon I could see doing it, but he wasn't around. He was hiding under a table.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind. I started reading the book. It's like
Hermes is correct.
The high towers with Old Town and stepped in, and I was just like, well, wasn't they kind of rebellious at first and doing kind of nonsense and everything? But whatever. Different episode.
Yeah, like things get out of hand, but I mean, I was just surprised that the show has been so careful sometimes to make sure that it builds up carefully and that it doesn't get ahead of itself. And in the next episode, there's going to be some stuff that goes down that's like a point of no return stuff. But it kind of feels like a little spoiled now, because now they've already done point of no return stuff. There's this big dragon things episode, but I mean, now the big dragon thing is Rhaenys bursting up from the ground in the dragon pit. They've kind of like shot themselves in the foot a bit.
So someone in the comments was like, maybe this episode was from Allison's point of view because she is all over the place.
Ooh.
And then next week will be a little bit more controlled, like we have been seeing, because maybe that's what we needed to kind of see. Like the Greens are going all over the place and trying to figure out exactly what they're going to do now that Allison has figured out what the king actually wanted. And so they're literally doing like running around with their chicken like a chicken with their head cut off, and they're trying to figure it out. Maybe that's why this episode was careless. So next week could be a lot more controlled to kind of like really get into whatever's going to happen. But I kind of like that theory.
I think it's a valiant effort.
Kind of going through it as we're doing this.
I think the episode was shitty because it was shittily written. It is my personal take. And I hope next week is less shittily written. That's what I'm hoping.
So it'll have the blacks. So obviously it'll be better.
Right.
It'll be all blacks. We don't have to worry about none of them green folks. We're just gonna worry about the real people.
Reals.
I hope not. I mean, we need some greens. We need some greens in the mix there at the end of the season.
Yeah.
They mentioned Damon's in the not Damon. Aemon's in the trailer.
Cool. That's
you guys didn't see it.
He's the one that really matters.
Removing his eye patch.
I can take or leave the rest of them. Oh, did he take the eye patch off?
Yeah.
There's like a little shot in the trailer of just like, and then it cuts to black.
You're gonna put something in that eye socket, maybe from the book. We'll find out.
Again, just so weird that they have all these details from the book, but then this episode they like just changed so much for so little reason. And then they're like, but we kept whatever's underneath the eye patch. It's just so strange to me. I'm bringing down the room a lot. And do you have anything nice to say? Let's think about something nice to say.
Well, let's talk about the ending, right? So how did do I need to start? Like, did you guys all hate the coronation? Because I have thoughts, but I want to pass the ball to you guys.
I didn't love it.
Okay.
Ooh, explain.
Lackluster.
Okay. Lackluster. Whew. Okay. So the coronation, I really liked it because I don't think we've ever seen a Targaryen get crowned in the traditional way like this. Mm-hmm. And granted, there's not very much that's traditional about this, but seeing an Aegon Targaryen get crowned in front of all the crowds of King's Landing is the kind of thing that has been talked about in Game of Thrones forever that we've never actually seen. So I loved the way it was kind of choreographed with Aegon walking down that I don't know what to call it, but the swords.
Yeah.
And then they came down behind it. Sword Alley, walking down Sword Alley, like a prison behind him as they come down, which is cool because he's literally taking the crown at Sword
Promenade.
Basically. Promenade, yeah. And yeah, I liked Meleys coming up out of the floor. I can't lie. I saw your review for this where you were like, a dragon comes out of the floor. And I was like, I liked that. I liked the dragon coming out of the floor.
Okay, can I go next?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do like the sword thing. When I say lackluster, I'm
Mhm.
like, I wanted the trumpets, and why are you letting people run all the way in there? And I'm like, this is too much going on. But then Rhaenys kind of coming in, slinking around. I like that. Her going down. I knew exactly what she was going to do.
Yeah.
But like Aegon, like freaking out as the sword's going behind him. He's like,
Yeah, that's nice.
then halfway through, he's like, okay, maybe I got this. And then he gets up there and he looks at everybody and tries to get their approval. Like he wants their approval. And that to me is not a king. Like a king must be confident in himself and to be able to rule. And I thought Aemon not even really giving him anything but a nod, if that, to me makes me like Aemon more. Because Aemon's like, I'm doing everything right.
Yeah.
And your little
Yeah.
weird butt gets to go do things with the children and have bastards and everything else. And I'm over here working my butt off, lost an eye. I ride the biggest dress. I get it.
Right.
I get it.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I just was like, the dragon through the floor gave me what I needed for the episode, because I didn't think Rhaenys was just going to go find a boat and get on it and leave. She's not going to leave her dragon.
Sure.
No, she's not Laenor. She's
Yeah.
not.
God.
Oh, yeah.
She's
Legit.
not going.
Oh yeah, another weird thing. Just another thing they can't really match up. Like she's not. We don't know Laenor. Frankly, this show has kind of had a habit of doing things that just don't make a lot of sense, and sometimes I have not liked them. But it's starting to hurt me now. I liked the Coronation. I told you, I liked the
That's
Coronation.
fair.
I thought it was a good. And again, I wanted the moment from the book where Alicent this wasn't a big deal. There's a bit where Alicent crowns Helena queen. I thought that would have been neat to show.
I wanted
We
that
didn't
too.
have that.
Yeah.
And I also like the Aemon stuff about, because I felt that he is the one who puts all the work in. Aegon's the one who's a screw up and he gets to be king. I thought it was a weird place to have him talk about it, just because of
Agree.
I kind of like.
Agree.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like you, Natalie. Like this was like that whole section. The stakes seem very low. Like that's good development, but just weirdly placed. Like a different wrong time, man. This should be more focused. But the words were good. The dragon through the floor thing. So I enjoyed the Coronation. The dragon through the floor was a little much, and I already said why I kind of had problems with it, just because this is supposed to be kind of the taut, controlled part that's so tense you can barely bear to like make your way through it. But they're giving you like hastily choreographed Kingsguard fights and dragons bursting through the floor and then flying away. I just think it's the wrong approach. Like I think this should be a lot more like I love saying what I would have done. If you notice that, I would have cut out a lot of the little like let's find Aegon bits. Had a bunch of it, and I think I would have brought in the blacks and had Rhaenyra find out, and have the final scene be cross-cutting Aegon getting crowned king and Rhaenyra getting crowned queen. That's I think how I would have done it, to kind of have a like this is like kind of montage it. Also, weirdly, another weird missed opportunity. In the book, the people who escape King's Landing steal Viserys's crown, because you notice that Aegon got the Aegon the Conqueror crown, and Alicent had put Viserys's crown on his body, which is a nice scene. Alicent's gonna miss Viserys, and in the trailer it's there, so it's like so I'm not spoiling it. In the trailer they have Viserys's crown, and the one twin's like, "Here you go, Queen." But why wouldn't you have like a little scene where they're going to steal the crown? Doesn't that sound dramatic?
Yeah, he stole it off screen. I wish we had gotten that too. I assume it's in his satchel. He had a satchel when he came to get Rhaenys, and I don't know what else would be in there other than maybe the crown. Yeah, that's a fair one though. I kind of expected him and Rhaenys to go get the crown.
Like it's just your options are Laris foot porn, child fighting ring, Mysaria child person, or Rhaenys Targaryen and the Kingsguard try to steal Viserys's crown to give it to Rhaenyra. her father's crown. I would definitely go with this one, but foot porn's also great. It's super duper.
Yeah. I am so over Mysaria. I'm sorry. Like, nothing against her
that
as a
accent.
character. The accent one is bad, but also, like, this is the second to last episode. I don't need these scenes about her when she's barely been in the season. Like, I get she probably becomes more important maybe in the book and everything, so they're trying to fit it in.
Yeah.
But you
Not the
can't.
right
It doesn't
time.
fit. It doesn't
Yeah.
fit. Like, there's too much to do after this, and so
That's kind of like
It's the
them.
same thing.
baby.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's like them panning to the child, Aegon's bastard, and being like, "Yep, that's him," and then going away.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I again, like, that wasn't terrible. Like, the twins are kind of, like, I got it. Like, the one twin hangs out with Aegon a lot. He's the guy who guards him, and the other twin doesn't. And the other one's like, dude, Aegon sucks. Like, I need to show you this. But again, just
I
like
like that.
not the right time in this episode. Like, not the good place for it. Same with Aemon talking. I didn't mind the Aemon stuff. Just it was weird to have it here. And same with Mysaria. Like, we're going to develop her now. Like, should have been last week. Is a little more laid back. Do it then.
Yeah, what would have been
Yeah.
cool is if Aemon found Aegon by themselves, and
Yes.
had
and they have a conversation.
Yeah. Talk
and have
it
that
out.
opportunity. And then, because I know, like, the way that they shot it, and he's like, "Just let me go. I'll go get on a boat and leave, so you can have the crown." And in my mind,
Love
Aemon's like,
that.
okay, yeah, I'm going to do that. Let me do that. And then all of a sudden they're there. Like, he can't do that because the other people are there. But if we could have shot it where that he found him, they do it by themselves, and then Kristen or whoever comes in where he couldn't get away, that would have been a little bit more strategic, maybe. But
Yeah.
if I have to like one of these people, it's going to be Aemon.
Yeah, it's fair.
I mean, is it?
So-
I've always said at least I'm interested in him. I'm interested in Aegon too.
Yeah.
I'm interested in Allison too. Just I don't think this episode served them very well.
Yeah.
Daniel, you go. Because I know you liked it. Is
I
this
did.
all this talk dispiriting you, or are you standing firm? Okay.
No, I'm standing firm. I think that a lot of the criticisms I do think are fair. Like, I get the whole Otto and Allison kind of power struggle, but I don't think they laid the groundwork well enough. I think it probably confused quite a few people. They kind of glossed through some of these points. So I think that stuff is fair. And I kind of wonder if we're seeing a little bit with this episode, kind of a side effect of they didn't have more time, because you're right about Aemon talking about how he should be king. That's something that could have maybe fit better elsewhere. And same with developing Aegon more. But we only have, like, this is their, I think that's why we have Mysaria here, because so we are not going to talk deets about this, but there is something important that Mysaria is involved in, and it's either going to happen at the end of this season or the beginning of next season, which is, most people say the beginning of next season. We'll see. But the point is, it's coming soon enough that they needed to have her in at least another episode or two to establish who she is and what she's doing, and to make her hate the Greens, because Larys burned her house down.
Oh yeah. By the way, I did not get the first time I watched the episode. I was like, why are they walking down a burning house?
Yeah.
Larys foot
You blink
fetishist
and you
burned that
miss it.
down. Okay.
Yes, her feet were not good enough. He burnt her house down.
Quentin Tarantino, master of whispers, just set that place aflame. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, people asking
Which,
about
again, like-
Helena's foreshadowing too. The beast beneath the boards. Yeah.
Dan
I know
loved
you
it.
hated that.
It's fine. It was just
I-
it's just a little obvious.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I'm getting flashbacks here to Lady Stoneheart talking about the thing that I think the beast beneath the boards is a book thing that's coming up. So I wonder if there's going to end up being another meeting, because that's so obvious, but it could just be that it's so obvious and I'm deluding myself. Who can say?
How are we like the beast beneath the boards? When that Jen just said was totally the dragon, And
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, wouldn't that be the beast beneath the boards? But I guess that's stone.
I mean, close.
There are no
I mean,
floorboards in a dragon pit, Jen.
Oh, stop trying to make Helena have her visions be exact. That'll probably have a couple of meanings, which is okay. It's the only with Helena's prophecies that, like with Helena's stuff, that they could think like one episode ahead and that's it. Like he'll have to lose an eye, and the next time, bam. I just didn't like it, you guys, and I was surprised by how much I loved last week's. I loved it. Best ones I've seen easily so far, and this one I think is definitely the worst one they've had yet.
Yes,
to me,
I think so. For sure.
Yeah, I think so as well. But I mean, that's just also to say, like, I loved almost all the other ones very much.
Mhm.
So it doesn't say too much by ranking it last. The biggest thing for me, I really did not dislike it. There are parts that I liked a lot, but I don't know what's going to happen next. So if this is the penultimate episode, to me, I'm like, okay, nothing's going to happen in the finale because this was boring. But you guys know what's going to happen. So you're like, all right,
I mean,
I'm on the edge of my seat. But
it's all in how it's delivered. Like, things happen in this episode that could have been big. Like Aegon being coronated king is big. It just, and that was one of the better moments, I thought, but it just didn't feel as big as it needed to. Next episode, I don't know. I mean, there are big things happening. I just hope they sell them well. And the show sold them well before, so I know it can do it. But okay, so at this point, we had Daemon killing 30 guys for the crab feeder, which was a little silly. But at that point, it was like, who cared? Because it's like the crab feeder. So I completely got on board with that. It was fine. It was fun. Go ahead. Then there was the Kristen murdering the guy. That was another kind of example of that's a little silly of you because he doesn't get punished. By the way, in the bit where Kristen kills Lemon Beesbury, and then the Lord Commander's like, put down your sword, Kristen. How could you do that? I'm like, oh, now you're mad at him for murdering a guy. Which again, it's that's the problem. These things butterfly out. So there was some dumb stuff in this episode that might just have some dumb after effects. I actually didn't hate Kristen this one. I liked him saying that full incel thing, like
episode.
Every woman is made in the image of the mother. They're treated with respect. Like, whoa, red flag. So he like is like pedestaling people, which was a good character trait because he is like some kind of hypocritical, weird, dual thinking kind of guy where he puts women on a pedestal, but also obviously thinks of them as if they reject him once, they're awful and horrible. Like that track. Like I've met people like that. So what was my point? Oh yeah, but the murder guy was bad. And then there was a Laenor thing. So there have been examples of the show kind of just to me, taking leave of logic for a second. But this was the one when they all were like coming at once.
I think
Kristen
and Alicent are together and they're just not telling people.
Who?
Sir
Kristen and Alicent?
And Alicent, they got something going on.
They had some kind of moment, a little moment.
100%.
Yeah, that's what I mean about Alicent being kind of stuck in this spot where she's surrounded by men who pedestal her in different ways. So she's got Larys who wants to check out her feet, and they have an arrangement. And then she's got Kristen, who I do think is unreasonably devoted in love, however you want to think of it. I don't think they're an item because their whole thing is we're so chaste and good, but
they're
really
like united in sexual oppression together.
Exactly. Yes. So but Alicent knows he has that insane devoted loyalty to her. So yeah, they had a moment where she's like, all the things you feel for me, now go do some dirty work, please. And then she's got Otto, who's like, you remind me of your mother when you speak back to me. And I'm like, oh God,
that's
like,
a little odd.
Can't she just have any regular people in her life? No.
Your son's question if he loves her.
Yeah.
Kind of seemed nice to her, honestly.
Yeah. Aemon, the good child. Who knew?
Helene's over here being crazy. We also saw Helena's twins really, really briefly, Jaehaera and
Yes.
Jaehaerys. Again, the names, they're just keeping them all. There's a third one in the book, and I don't know if it was around Maelor. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, I'm surprised we haven't heard anything. Maelor is with Daeron Targaryen down in Dorne, I guess.
Oh God.
Or in Old Town. So if you guys, all right. So you all hated the episode, is what I hear.
No.
But if you had to pick, no, if you had to pick, who was your character MVP for the Green Council? Who did you enjoy the most in this episode?
I guess
Alicent.
Aegon.
Who?
Alicent and Aegon.
Aegon?
He had a good episode.
I mean, at least I was intrigued.
Aegon?
Her. Probably. No. I like Aemon. I think Aemon's
Aemon's
body
okay.
language, the way he
Aemon's-
treated himself
Yeah.
was really
Yeah,
telling.
he's got the strut.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, I'm not supposed to like you, but I do. Like,
Mhm.
okay. Like young Damon all over again, but like not
Ooh.
really.
Yep.
And then I like the fact that Rhaenys kind of like in that whole entire conversation with Alicent
Yeah.
having that conversation, but in my mind, I'm like, she just betrothed, her granddaughters to Jason Luke. Like she's
Yep.
a woman of honor, and she's going to stick to that.
Good.
And I like the fact that she didn't do anything but get her dragon to yell at them at the end, because it's just like you just ticked off the dragons and we're gonna come for you now. That's where I thought she done changed her outfit and
She did change
everything
her outfit. She looked
Yeah.
good.
floor, and she was just like, we're here. I'm gonna go get my family, and we're gonna come back. We're gonna take what's rightfully ours.
By the way, Savannah, Donna has noticed your visitor sticking in the door behind you.
I'm sorry.
And Connie also liked Rhaenys. She was good. I mean, the dragon to the floor thing I have my issues with. It wasn't that bad. It was just a little weird. I liked her scene with Alicent more or less when she was like Alicent trying to like, I want your support, yada yada yada. And she's like when into prison. It seemed a little close to preachy when they're talking about gender
I
roles.
love that line. Close.
Yeah.
That line though is
Yeah.
that line's fire. I love that line.
I didn't like how Alicent kept grabbing her wrist harder and harder.
Alicent
that
loves
was-
that.
Mhm.
I know, it's like personal space, ma'am. Learn it.
Alicent loved grabbing Rhaenyra's hands. She did it
Yeah.
last episode.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
grabbed it- Alicent's love language is hands, just grabbing hands, her own hands when she can't
Right.
anybody else's. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely an
And
Alicent
to me,
thing.
it's just like it looked desperate to me. Like
Oh,
the way
yeah.
Oh, it was desperate.
her
Yeah.
and wanting her to switch, like not. I don't even think Rhaenys is on a side, to be honest, because of what happened with Lena and Pinto. Like I just don't like. I just think she is the middle of the road person trying to fill out what's going on. And I did not like the fact that they kept her in her room and locked her in her room with all that was going down. To
Yeah.
me, if you wanted an alliance, you wanted her to be on your side. You
Yeah, bring her in.
But no,
I mean, I got why they would do it, just because she's, like you said, has betrothed her children to Rhaenyra's kids, so you assume she's with Rhaenyra, so you don't want her out and about running away blabbing, which she is anyway now because of the dragon thing. But I got it. But yeah, it was a tricky situation. As Dharma says, Rhaenys is an amazing, perfect cast, best along with Daemon. I like Rhaenys.
Yeah.
She hasn't really
Yeah.
had like a giant like coming out moment. I feel like
I think this was
supposed
it.
to be it. But it didn't
This was
really
supposed to
hit
be
for me
it,
what was
yeah.
supposed to be.
This was her best episode for me, I think. Her and
Holy-
Aemond and Alicent are the three I like the most in this episode. But with Rhaenys, I almost feel like they decided to do the whole dragon thing because what you were saying about the Greens keeping things quiet. They kind of did it with like King's Landing. So like they're keeping things in the castle, and then the news gets out into the town, which we find out through Mysaria that people are starting to find out, but it's still in the city. So like Rhaenys escaping is kind of like dramatizing. Well, now the news is going to get out.
Oh yeah, I got it.
It's that moment
it works.
They can't keep it quiet anymore.
Yeah, well,
I mean, just FYI, just in the book, I won't hold it over. Just the way they get out of that is that Rhaenys just straight up isn't in King's Landing. She's on Driftmark.
Yeah.
Why is she still in King's Landing?
Because she came in for the big dinner and just didn't leave yet. Because Rhaenyra left early because there was the Aemond and their kids fought. And Rhaenys is like, whatever. Well, I guess her kids were there too. Where are Baela and Rhaena? I guess they must have left. Again, lack of detail.
Baela and Rhaena they're Daemon's kids. So they left with Daemon and Rhaenyra.
Well, yeah, but like one is Rhaenys' ward. And you're like, I don't know, I just figured like they'll mention these things.
Yeah.
I also would have mentioned like the kinslaying is bad. I really would have done that. So we had some
I agree with that.
of like,
Yeah.
why ain't you burning them?
That was my question. Yeah, because I don't know. I felt like the whole her bursting through the floor was kind of just like, all right, this episode is kind of slow. HBO just wants to put a dragon in there. So people are like, oh, cool dragon. Because she just showed up and did nothing and killed a bunch of people probably.
Yeah.
So what was the point?
Yeah.
I'm like, just burn them all.
It definitely felt very tacked on. Like we like insert action thing here at the end.
Yeah.
Is the dragon pit under there? Claudia said that it wasn't, but
that is the dragon pit that he was being coronated at.
So is there underlying? Okay. Yeah, because the back of it,
the cathedral. Yeah, the cathedral was a different location, Claudia. It's not even Baelor's cathedral, actually. It's the Grand Sept is the cathedral that Aegon was in. So they took him to the dragon pit to get crowned. And yeah, I guess she just decided to take the most dramatic way out of there, definitely killing a lot of faceless peasants who will never know, will never see their like again.
They picked the wrong king?
Well,
that's true. But did they
that's
have
true.
a choice?
Y'all gonna be here
No.
to support Aegon? All right, well, I'm
They're
gonna come
peasants. They're getting corralled.
They've been talking junk about Rhaenyra and all that, like since she got named heir. So it's just
You don't know their life.
not remember her and Daemon.
I remember some of them. Those were like a couple.
Look, innocent big people have to die sometimes to prove a point, and that's what happened.
And there were some. I mean, like
there you go.
In the book, I like the bit where they say, and they kind of had this a little bit where they say like after Aegon's like they go around saying like Aegon King and like to the crowds, and the crowds had like a full like half clap going on, and like folk are like some are like all right, and others are like, well, I thought Rhaenyra was queen, and then there's like one shout of like hail to our queen. But and they kind of had that, like there was one bit where there was like a half like, do we applaud at that? Should we be doing this?
Also, maybe Rhaenys is like, at least Rhaenyra wants the throne after she said a sentence like, why do you not see yourself on the throne, or don't you see yourself, whatever. Like at least she sees Rhaenyra taking that initiative and being like, I want to be queen, like that's my throne. She's like, all right, well, I found my side.
I just don't like pinning everything on the Viserys' last words. I really wish they had mentioned more, like in the book. It said that Aegon doesn't want to be king, obviously, but he agrees to do it after they convince him, like, look, Rhaenyra will kill you. Like, I wish we'd had something else, like not just the one thing. Because again, I want these characters to have depth, and they have had depth, and I just don't like when they kind of flatten.
I will say, like, Aegon in the carriage when he's like, he didn't change his mind.
Yeah.
Yep, totally. Aegon knows. Yeah, I honestly, going into this episode, that was the one thing I didn't like from last episode, was I didn't know how I felt about the idea that Viserys's last words were going to become the impetus for the Greens to usurp Rhaenyra, because there are, like you were saying, there's so many political reasons and personal reasons that they just didn't need it.
We're smart.
the one-
HBO, just
Yeah.
that's good. We'll get it.
The one thing I really liked about how they did he changed his last words thing is that to most people that doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
The high towers are muscling people to follow them. They're getting the small folk to follow them basically through force. They're corralling them to this coronation. So Alicent believes that. Otto doesn't really even care if he believes that, but it's convenient, so he'll let it serve his purposes.
Yeah, I gotcha.
I love that everyone pointed out how convenient it was that she's the only person who heard it. So it's kind of like, even though they use that for Alicent as a driver for her character for why she was going to support this change, which I don't love, but I can get that. I like that the butterfly effect is a little smaller for it because everyone just didn't believe her anyway.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Manipulative.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, what a discussion.
How you doing, Dan?
I'm
You're like-
emotionally drained. It's
tired
been
in
a
the
long,
soul.
It's been a long few days. I have some comments here. Some good comments. Oh, David asked if you read the book. Has anyone here done that? Can someone tell what Rhaenys was thinking about? Why didn't she say the word? Oh, and David, in the book, Rhaenys fully does not do this. Rhaenys is safely away, so that was not an issue. As Dharma says, Damya, I think overall the time jumps have not allowed buildup of characters and everything looks rushed. The episode could easily have been extended for us to become more invested in characters. That's why we were also conflicted on these characters. Game of Thrones was brilliant that way, and there were no debate on characters as such. I mean, I think it's kind of episode by episode though. Like there have been episodes where I've been really invested in the characters, and then this one I thought they were kind of all over the place. So I don't think that it's been too fast. I just thought this one sort of dropped the ball for me. But we've said that like a million different times. Is there anything else about the episode that we want to bring up?
No.
I don't
think
know. I think I'm drawing a blank here.
How about
I will
next
say
week?
one
Go
thing.
ahead.
One thing I really liked. So I know you brought up Lyman Beesbury earlier, and I'm in the camp who was hoping there would be a window involved in Lyman Beesbury's death all season. We've been talking about it.
He's also the in the book.
And it's a little ironic that they use those stupid marbles that they made up, which are okay marbles, but it's still funny to me knowing that was a thing where they were like, this looks cool, let's put it on the set and then we'll use it to kill Lyman Beesbury.
Damn marbles.
I love that they left his body there. There were little touches like that where it was like a pervading sense of like dread that this stuff was happening. And the fact that they killed Lyman Beesbury and then were like, let's continue our negotiations while his dead body's sitting right there was something I liked a lot. So I'll throw that little silver lining out there.
Yeah, that was a nice little touch.
I
Savannah,
thought
you do have something?
Rhaenys' dragon, that close up at the end of her face. Super cool. Red dragons are mine.
Yeah.
Melee.
Yeah.
But like the detail and stuff, I really appreciated that because we all thought they was fixing to get, obviously they don't get the fire because that would end the story. Like,
Right.
Yeah. And that's the end of the show.
Yeah. And Alicent bracing for it. I'm like, girl, you know better. So I appreciated the dragon because I love the dragons. And I like that they've changed the dragons up so much this year instead of having
Dragons look great.
Yeah.
Dan's
Very,
like,
very
I'm just
cool.
ready for the season finale and move on from this terrible episode.
That's correct. I was gonna ask what we're looking forward to next episode, and I was gonna say I
All the
hope it wins
blacks.
me back.
Damon.
Action.
Nice.
I hope it wins me. I hope it wins me back. Is what they hope for the show.
Yeah, and
For next episode. How about you
Okay.
guys?
the way I watched the preview, I really think it does kind of set it up. And I like what from that comment of it being so out of control is I think they weren't expecting the king to die this soon. And so they had to kind of not the directors and stuff, obviously, the actual like they had to scramble. And so now that Rhaenyra and them have actually, I don't know necessarily know how much time passes, evidently not much, but like they're going to have the
Mhm.
opportunity to kind of like, they already know the plan in place. Damon and Rhaenyra are supposed to be king and queen, and
Sure.
they're going to go from there. Whereas Alicent and them were had to manipulate people and had to throw it all the way together. So I think next week is going, but everybody was so hyped up about episode 9. So I feel like the disappointment is because we all were like expecting something big, not y'all, but other people.
I was.
Sure. Yeah. I was gonna say, I just hated it.
That was
So 9,
me.
I'm trying
8,
here,
6,
Dan.
4.
I'm trying here. But I think next week is going
Yeah.
to be awesome. It's just going to be.
I'm
it's
hoping
gonna-
it. I really hope so.
if it's
Yeah.
7 episodes 8 episodes in a row were fantastic.
No.
Then you have, and then you have this one, and it's just like, what the world? Okay, give me something. They got to. Who directs it next week?
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I don't
they
know
haven't-
off the
they
top
haven't
of my head.
They
Yeah.
didn't tell
No,
y'all?
it's
This episode was directed
No,
by Claire
it's
Kilner, who directed the wedding episode, which was mostly good.
oh
and
man,
then
okay.
then the
Yeah.
thing I didn't like was the writing thing, so not really her fault. I
True.
thought she did a great job on that one. And I mean, again, what else are you guys looking forward to next week? Natalie, Daniel, anything in particular?
Damon and Rhaenyra, some action, a character death that actually matters.
Not random cities.
Yeah, even if it's Damon, I don't care at this point because I need to feel something after.
Gotcha.
tonight.
Yes, I hope we'll feel something. Ooh, Daniel.
Yeah, I'm excited for some dragons. I'm excited for some dragons. Dragon scene that I hope happens next episode.
There were a lot of dragons in the
Um,
trailer. I'll say
dragon
that. They really
fighting?
packed those
Sweet.
things in there.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see some stuff at Harrenhal maybe next episode too. I'm excited to see what Damon gets up to.
Nah, they're cutting that out.
I loved him
And
sing.
yeah, I'll just say I am excited. God, I'm just having PTSD for Stoneheart right now. Yeah, I hope we find another meaning for the beast between the boards next week. I'll leave it at that without going
You
into
are
details.
out of your mind. There's
We'll
no
find out.
after this one. There's no way there's room.
I don't know.
We
I
need
don't know,
some.
Dan. I don't know.
If this episode proved anything, so again, episode 8, very slow talking. Old man walks across floor. Old man watches his grandkids dance with each other. There's dinner, and it's the most heartbreaking thing I've ever seen in my life. This week, dragon burst through the floor. Kingsguards fighting each other. Children tearing at each other with claws. Foot porn. Very bored. Like, we need the big action scenes, in my opinion, have to be that they only mean something if they're led up to with the character stuff. So
Sure.
I know what you want, but I don't think there's any close to room for it. Don't rush
we
this
will
stuff.
see.
Oh,
So that's what I'm
it's
excited
dog.
for to find out. Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is Champion got his
Oh.
zombie brains cup.
Aw,
Squeeze out of
what
the
a good boy.
episode.
Scruffy,
Scruffy
Scruffy. Okay, that's fine.
doesn't even pick up his head.
Yeah.
Just like I'm off the clock right now, man. I don't know.
Go champ. Okay, no, okay. I'm excited for next
Oh.
week. Did
Oh
he-
yeah.
There it is.
What a
Yeah.
guy.
You woke him up.
Also, I know
Uh-huh.
we're still live and all that, but season finale show.
Yeah,
We need
Yeah.
wigs.
wigs.
Ooh, I will see what I can do. I think I can actually get a wig.
All right.
Yep, Amazon.
All right. And thanks for all the comments, guys. This was a very lively episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we'll be back next week. We're here every week. I mean, for one more week on Sundays, recapping,
Yeah.
reviewing, clearly very honestly, the latest
Yes.
episode of House of the Dragon. We also have a podcast every Wednesday, Take the Black, at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time on the Winners Coming Facebook page and the Winners Coming YouTube page, to which you would, if you could, please subscribe, please ring the bell, please leave a comment. It always helps us. And you can also download our podcast, Google Play, iTunes, wherever they're available. So thanks so much. I had a great time. And if you want to check out Lara Strong's foot porn. He has set up an OnlyFans account. Good night, everybody.